If you want to take amazing photos anywhere in the world, this video is for you. So I just got back from my trip to Italy, and one thing that I noticed while I was there was how much different we shoot than us photographers shoot than your typical tourist. Like, we shoot so much more differently, with intention and with a different mindset. If you're someone who wonders how your favorite photographers take amazing photos, doesn't matter where they go in the world, I'm gonna give you guys some super helpful tips, probably tips that you've never even heard of, to hopefully get you taking better photos and not your typical tourist photos. So first, you gotta be different and unique. Do something that no other tourist or photographer would do. So one thing that I do, doesn't matter where I go, I'm always trying to set up a portrait shoot in that location just because it fits with my brand. And so what I did for the Italy trip, I posted an Instagram story basically saying I'm looking for a model in Rome. I'll be there from this time to this time, and I'm planning to do a portrait shoot. I did the same thing when I traveled to Miami. I did the same thing when we traveled to LA, and it just gives the trip more of a purpose rather than just taking random photos. We set up 3 photo shoots in one single day while we were in Rome, one at like 6 a.m. at Trevi Fountain, and then 2 later on that day in the evening. But it's how we were able to take a boring touristy photo of the fountain and elevate it and make it a lot more personal, more aligning with my brand, which for me is portraits. But this goes for everything. If you're a car photographer and all you do is post car photos, let's say you want to take a photo of the Colosseum. Beforehand, reach out, maybe post an Instagram story, and see if you can set up a car shoot while you're at that location. Like, how cool would it be to set up a shoot with like a Porsche or a Ferrari or something right outside the Colosseum? You're making that photo spot more unique, but also more personal to you and your brand. It'll also just be a banger photo. So if you want to take better photos, I think that's the number one tip I can suggest, is you need to make these photo spots more unique. Don't take the same photo that every single person is taking. Add your own little unique touch to it, and you're gonna take a better photo. Now, another way you can be more unique is plan out photo spots beforehand. Now, something that I like to do before going on a trip is obviously plan out photos that I want to take at places I want to take them. But something I don't do is pin the actual like building or landmark I want to take a photo of. A good example of this is this photo that I took in LA. I knew the type of shot that I wanted. I wanted a long exposure of the cars driving on the highway. I wanted a bridge on top where I can get like a nice top-down shot. Kind of wanted the city in the background. And the only way to find that photo spot or find the spot to take this photo is to go through Google Street View, find where the city is, find where the highway is, kind of go on the Street View and look at where we can possibly park to take that photo. We did the same thing when we were in Italy. We were very far down south in Polignano a Mare, near Bari, and there's this bridge that everybody walks across. It's like the main tourist, walkway or road. But basically you have this landscape, and the rock formation kind of comes down, like the sea's coming in, there's a nice beach. And so everyone takes a photo from the top of the bridge, just a straight shot at the boat, and you kind of get the landscape framing up the boat. We did something different. We were actually down shooting photos, and then we saw that the bridge had these nice archways underneath. And so we walked all the way around, shot the boat, shot that landscape, the rocks, through the bridge itself, through the archways of the bridge, just to get a unique shot that nobody else is getting. Another thing you can do is just search for photo spots in that location you're going to, whether that be on Google, Instagram, or even there's 2 apps that I know of on the App Store. I think one's called Photo Spots, one's called explorist, and professional photographers post their photos on there, and they actually give you the address. Typically, you can find some really, really cool spots.
We're in this town called Alberobello, and they have all these trulli everywhere, look.
And a cat.
And there's a cat up there trying to like catch a bird. Really cool little town. And we took this photo of Anthony. So good.
Now, one of the most underrated methods for probably getting the best and most unique photos in anywhere you're going is to actually connect with photographers that live in that area. A few months ago, when I was in Banff, we actually met up with our friend Matt Littlewood, who you probably know is an amazing photographer, and he took us to some of the coolest spots, coolest and most unique spots that I would never find by myself, and most tourists would probably never find either. Like, he took us to an ice cave. An ice cave. I don't know how you would find it, but because he lives in that area, he just knows all of these cool spots. Having someone local that you can go out with while you're there, or even just message beforehand to suggest some photo spots, is truly a game changer. One of the ways where you can get some super unique photos. So how do you find these people? I feel like every photographer that I know uses hashtag Paris photographer, hashtag Rome photographer. Do a quick little search on Instagram. You'll find photographers from that area. I feel like Instagram is just super easy. You can comment on their post, send them a message through there. Very simple and super underrated. I feel like everyone wants to take the easy route, go to the same spot that has been taken by hundreds and hundreds of photographers and take the exact same photo. I personally think a good photographer can take a great photo anywhere. During this trip to Italy, we stopped in a lot of small towns, and I mean towns that had a maximum of like 5 people walking around, like very, very dead, unpopulated towns. But that didn't stop us from taking really good photos. For example, we talked to this old guy where we were just walking on the street. We saw a garage open with a beautiful, very old Fiat 500, and the owner was just out there. So we asked him if we can take some photos of his car. He pulled it out of the garage. He let us take some photos here. Then he started suggesting all these locations that we should shoot his car. And so he drove it up to the piazza at the top of the town, and we started taking photos there. And then he's like, do you guys want me to bring it to the church? Because that looks cool too. But it was just such a cool experience that, you know, this local let us take photos of his car. Now, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes some spots are very boring. They might look cool in person, but when you actually put your camera up to take a photo of it, it's not actually that good. It looked better in person. And in some of those situations, that's where I like to put a subject in front. For example, this photo here had this beautiful archway with this super cool design, and I just got our model that we happened to be shooting with at the time to stand in frame, and it honestly elevated the photo. Look at the difference. This is before without the model. This is after with the model. So photo spots are great, but don't be afraid to get out there and go for a walk and create your own photo spots.
What is this, the 55?
Yeah. Oh no, he wants to be in it with me.
And lastly, similar to connecting with photographers that live in that area, connect with the locals. Locals can really elevate your experience when you're on a trip somewhere. And that can be through so many ways, like recommending photo spot locations. That's probably the most common one. Unique places that tourists don't go to, driving their car around the town so you could take photos of it. Or in our case, we actually had one of the locals give us exclusive access and a private tour into a very old, ancient palace that honestly nobody gets access to.
We're getting a private tour of this old ancient castle, and our boy Rudy is giving us this tour. And then he brought us to the garden, and there's like oranges and it looks really, really nice, and we're all taking portraits here. And Rudy just became the
Photographer.
the posing guy.
He's now the photographer.
He's teaching us how to pose, he's teaching us how to take photos, and right now he has Taylor's camera. He just took one photo and that's all he needed. He's done. Just one photo, that's it. What a legend.
And all that because we were hanging out with him, talking with him earlier in the day at the coffee shop. And then later after the tour, we hung out with him again Don't ask me what's going on in these videos. So when you are on a trip, go and talk to the locals. Trust me, it'll elevate your experience. Hopefully these tips give you some insight on how I take amazing photos anywhere I go, along with some of your favorite photographers. Try to remember and use these tips on your next trip, and I can guarantee you'll come back more satisfied with way more photos that you're proud of. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.